Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. I mentioned in my first video of the day, Brad Garlinghouse's Peanut Butter Manifesto. Have you heard of this? It was an internal document written by now Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse when he was a senior vice president at Yahoo. Yes, that Yahoo, the gigantic one. The only Yahoo that anyone's ever heard of. And I'm going to share it with you. It was a piece largely about resources at Yahoo being spread too thin. And it rang true, frankly, but it really formed his years, because mind you, like, this is the mid-2000s. His experiences there as a senior vice president at Yahoo, it was transformative, I would say. I don't know if he'd characterize it as that, but the way in which he's running Ripple and the way that he expresses how, quote, laser focused they need to be when it comes to the solution that they seek to solve at Ripple, it seems very clear to me that Brad's experience at Yahoo couldn't be tied more closely together to what's actually happened at Ripple than it actually is. So what I wanted to do is, and I'm going to be up front here, this is a different type of video than I normally put out there. I'm basically going to cover the actual Peanut Butter Manifesto. If this isn't your jam, no offense, you can click off this video. I certainly won't be offended. I still love you. We're friends, right? But I think a lot of you are going to find this really fascinating. If you have not read the Peanut Butter Manifesto at this point, were you ever going to? But the reason I want to share it with you is because it'll give you some insight into the mindset of Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse. Because, again, like I just stated, what he felt about what Yahoo was doing back then, you can hear it in the way he talks publicly today, and it aims the direction of Ripple, the company. And given that I'm invested in XRP, which, of course, gives me no rights to Ripple, of course not, we know it's just a decentralized cryptocurrency, all the developers collectively building on top of the XRP ledger, that will ultimately affect the price. Ripple's one of them. That's the way I look at it personally. I don't think that I'm owed anything from Ripple whatsoever. XRP is not a security. It is decentralized, all that good stuff, okay? But I think that all of the participants within the ecosystem matter, and right now, Ripple's the most notable, the most prominent. So I'm going to go ahead and hop into this here. And before we get going, though, if you would please delicately tap that like button, and if you're a fan of Ripple and XRP and the Peanut Butter Manifesto, go ahead and subscribe to the Moon Lambo channel. And given this is a different type of video, I certainly welcome any feedback. I try to not go too far off the beaten path relative to what my normal format is for videos, but every now and then, right, it's fun to try something different. But if you hate what I'm doing, make sure I know it. Politely. No, you don't have to be polite. You can be rude as hell. I still love you. All right, so anyway, this is from November 18th, 2006. So hot off the press, right? No, this is almost 13 years ago. And this is from WSJ.com, The Wall Street Journal. And it states, an internal document by Brad Garlinghouse, a Yahoo senior vice president, says Yahoo is spreading its resources too thinly, like peanut butter on a slice of bread. Full text of the document is below. All right. Now let's go ahead and dig in. And I'm just going to let this speak for itself, mind you, okay? So that's a little bit different. I'm going to try to resist the urge to jump in, as I always have when I read anything related to anything. 3.5 years ago, I enthusiastically joined Yahoo. The magnitude of the opportunity was only matched by the magnitude of the assets. And an amazing team has been responsible for rebuilding Yahoo. It has been a profound experience. I'm fortunate to have been a part of dramatic change for the company. And our success speak for themselves. More users than ever, more engaging than ever, and more profitable than ever. I proudly bleed purple and yellow every day. And like so many people here, I love this company. But all is not well. Last Thursday's New York Times article was a blessing in the disguise of a painful public flogging. While it lacked accurate details, its inclusions rang true, and thus was a much-needed wake-up call, but also a call to action. A clear statement with which I, and far too many Yahoos, agreed, and thankfully a reminder. A reminder that the measure of any person is not in how many times he or she falls down, but rather the spirit and resolve used to get back up. The same is now true of our company. It's time for us to get back up. I believe we must embrace our problems and challenges and that we must take decisive action. We have the opportunity, in fact, the invitation to send a strong, clear, and powerful message to our shareholders and Wall Street, to our advertisers and our partners, to our employees, both current and future, and to our users. They are all begging for a signal that we recognize and understand our problems, and that we are charting a course for fundamental change. Our current course and speed simply will not get us there. Short-term band-aids will not get us there. It's time for us to get back up and seize this invitation. I imagine there's much discussion amongst the company's senior-most leadership around the challenges we face. At the risk of being redundant, I wanted to share my take on our current situation and offer a recommended path forward and attempt to be part of the solution rather than part of the problem. Recognizing our problems. We lack a focused, cohesive vision for our company. We want to do everything and be everything to everyone. We've known this for years. Talk about it incessantly, but do nothing to fundamentally address it. We are scared to be left out. We are reactive instead of charting an unwavering course. We are separated into silos that far too frequently don't talk to each other. And when we do talk, it isn't too collaborative on a clearly focused strategy, but rather to argue and fight about ownership, strategies, and tactics. Our inclination and proclivity to repeatedly hire leaders from outside the company results in disparate visions of what winning looks like, rather than a leadership team rallying around a single cohesive strategy. I've heard our strategy described as spreading peanut butter across the myriad opportunities that continue to evolve in the online world. The result? A thin layer of investment spread across everything we do, and thus we focus on nothing in particular. I hate peanut butter. We all should. We lack clarity of ownership and accountability. The most painful manifestation of this is the massive redundancy that exists throughout the organization. We now operate in an organizational structure, admittedly created with the best of intentions, that has become overly bureaucratic. For far too many employees, there is another person with dramatically similar and overlapping responsibilities. This slows us down and burdens the company with unnecessary costs. Equally problematic, at what point in the organization does someone really own the success of their product or service or feature? Product, marketing, engineering, corporate strategy, financial operations, there's so many people in charge, or believe that they're in charge, that it's not clear if anyone is in charge. This forces decisions to be pushed up rather than down. It forces decisions by committee or consensus and discourages the innovators from breaking the mold, thinking outside the box. There's a reason why center fielder and left fielder have clear areas of ownership. Pursuing the same ball repeatedly results in either collisions or dropped balls. Knowing that someone else is pursuing the ball and hoping to avoid that collision, we have become timid in our pursuit. Again, the ball drops. We lack decisiveness. Combine a lack of focus with unclear ownership, and the result is that decisions are either not made or are made when it is already too late. Without a clear and focused vision, and without complete clarity of ownership, we lack a macro perspective to guide our decisions and visibility into who should make those decisions. We are repeatedly stymied and challenging and hairy decisions. We are held hostage by our analysis paralysis. We end up competing, or redundant, initiatives and synergistic opportunities living in the different silos of our company. YME versus Music Match. Flickr versus Photos. YMG Video versus Search Video. Deli.cio.us versus MyWeb. Excuse me. Messenger and plugins versus Sidebar and widgets. Social media versus 360 and groups. Front page versus YMG. Global strategy from BUs versus global strategy from international. We have lost our passion to win. Far too many employees are phoning it in, lacking the passion and commitment to be part of the solution. We sit idly by while at all levels, employees are enabled to hang around. Where is the accountability? Moreover, our compensation systems don't align to our overall success. Weak performers that have been around for years are rewarded, and many of our top performers aren't adequately recognized for their efforts. As a result, the employees that we really need to stay, leaders, risk takers, innovators, passionate, become discouraged and leave. Unfortunately, many who opt to stay are not the ones who will lead us through the dramatic change that is needed. Solving our problems. We have awesome assets. Nearly every media and communications company is painfully jealous of our position. We have the largest audience. They are highly engaged, and our brand is synonymous with the internet. If we get back up, embrace dramatic change, we will win. I don't pretend there is only one path forward available to us. However, at a minimum, I want to be part of the solution and thus have outlined a plan here that I believe can work. It is my strong belief that we need to act very quickly or risk going down a slippery slope. The plan here is not perfect. It is, however, far better than no action at all. There are 3 pillars to my plan. Number 1, focus the vision. Number 2, restore accountability and clarity of ownership. Number 3, execute a radical reorganization. Under the first one, focus the vision. We need to boldly and definitively declare what we are and what we are not. B, we need to exit, and then parentheses he writes sell, question mark, non-core business and eliminate duplicative projects and businesses. My belief is that the smoothly spread peanut butter needs to turn into a deliberately sculpted strategy that is narrowly focused. We can't simply ask BU to figure out what they should stop doing. The result will continue to be a non-cohesive strategy. The direction needs to come decisively from the top. We need to place our bets and not second guess. If we believe media will maximize our ROI, then let's not be bashful about reducing our investment in other areas. We need to make the tough decisions, articulate them, and stick with them, acknowledging that some people, users, partners, employees, will not like it. Change is hard. Number 2, restore accountability and clarity of ownership. A, existing business owners must be held accountable for where we find ourselves today. Heads must roll. B, we must thoughtfully create senior roles that have holistic accountability for a particular line of business, a variant of a GM structure that will work with Yahoo's new focus. C, we must redesign our performance and incentive systems. I believe there are too many BU leaders who have gotten away with unacceptable results and worse, unacceptable leadership. Too often we, are the worst offenders of the problems outlined here. We must signal to both the employees and to our shareholders that we will hold these leaders, ourselves, accountable and implement change. By building around a strong and unequivocal GM structure, we will not only empower those leaders, we will eliminate significant overhead throughout our multi-headed matrix. It must be very clear to everyone in the organization who is empowered to make a decision, and ownership must be transparent. With that empowerment comes increased accountability. Leaders make decisions, the rest of the company supports those decisions, and the leaders ultimately live/die by the results of those decisions. My view is that far too often our compensation and rewards are just spreading more peanut butter. We need to be much more aggressive about performance-based compensation. This will only help accelerate our ability to weed out our lowest performers and better reward our hungry, motivated, and productive employees. Number 3, execute a radical reorganization. A, the current business unit structure must go away. B, We must dramatically decentralize and eliminate as much of the matrix as possible. And C, we must reduce our headcount by 15 to 20%. I empathetically believe we must simply eliminate the redundancies we have created, and the first step in doing this is by restructuring our organization. We can be more efficient with fewer people, and we can get more done more quickly. We need to return more decision-making to a new set of business units and keep their leadership. But we can't achieve this with baby step changes. We need to fundamentally rethink how we organize to win. Independent of specific proposals of what this reorganization should look like, two key principles must be represented. Blow up the matrix. Empower a new generation and model of general managers to be true general managers. Product, marketing, user experience and design, engineering, business development, and operations all report into a small number of focused general managers. Leave no doubts as to where accountability lies. Kill the redundancies. Align a new set of BUs so that they are not competing against each other. Search focuses on search. Social media aligns with community and communications. No competing owners for video, photos, etc. And front page becomes Switzerland. This will be a delicate exercise. Decentralization can create inefficiencies, but I believe we can find the right balance. I love Yahoo. I'm proud to admit that I bleed purple and yellow. I'm proud to admit that I shaved a Y in the back of my head. My motivation for this memo is the adamant belief that, as before, we have a tremendous opportunity ahead. I don't pretend that I have the only available answers, but we need to get the discussion going. Change is needed, and it is needed soon. We can be a stronger and faster company, a company with a clearer vision and clearer ownership and clearer accountability. We may have fallen down, but the race is a marathon and not a sprint. I don't pretend that this will be easy. It will take courage, conviction, insight, and tremendous commitment. I very much look forward to the challenge, so let's get back up, catch the balls, and stop eating peanut butter. And that's it. That is the Peanut Butter Manifesto. What do you think about it? I think the most important takeaway is that peanut butter tastes bad. That's what I got out of all this, right? Did you get that? No, I'm just kidding. Actually, I like how peanut butter tastes, but apparently you learned something new about Brad Garlinghouse today. He says that peanut butter does not taste good. Now, that's truly divisive. That is truly divisive. That's probably the most divisive thing that you can take out of this, right? But does this not sound like the Brad Garlinghouse of today? Doesn't it sound like what he learned back then has led the way in which that he's choosing to make sure that Ripple is run as a company? Does it not seem like that? To me, it couldn't be more clear. And some of the statements, like here's one of the variants. He said, the race is a marathon and not a sprint. And that's an analogy that he has used in explaining his goals as a Ripple CEO, in terms of the adoption and, adoption of a lot of technology, but specifically just the development of the Internet of Value, And so to me, this is really cool stuff here. And if you hadn't read it by now, you probably weren't ever. So hopefully you enjoyed this. I found it fascinating. This is the second time I've ever read it. First time I read it was probably, a year or so ago or something like that. But I thought, yep, this makes sense. And what a clear leader, and the guts to put something like this out there. And so fine, it leaked, apparently. But, the guts to put something like this out there saying, hey, we need to let go of 15 to 20% of the employees, saying the tough stuff that needed to be said from his perspective, whether right or wrong. To me, it reeks of leadership. Very cool stuff here. That is the man that is in charge of Ripple right now. Very cool stuff here. So, hope you enjoyed it. That's it for this video. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!